Is the workshop just 1 hour?
Yes, 1 hour, just one
Okay.
hour. Are you afraid that is like 3 hours of interview?
My interview was around 1 hour and a half.
Okay,
Uh,
it's a long one.
yes, a little bit because it's divided in more than one part, and the biggest part was the code challenge, the live coding. But yeah,
Hello,
hello.
Alanis.
What's up, guys? Everything good?
Yes, everything good, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just taking a look here at the event, learning how to have my English interviews, right?
I'm gonna wait like 2 minutes, right, Gabi? Maybe. Hello, Laura.
Hi,
Hello.
good evening, guys.
Hello, Fabiano. Thanks for coming.
Hello.
Hello, Gabriel. Good evening.
Hello.
So, guys, I'm going to start. Um, Let me just check one thing. Okay, hello, everyone. Let's start this event. Okay, thanks for everyone who's here. So, first of all, good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the presence of our special guests here. They will help us, assist us, and I would also like to say thank you to the presence of the alpinists and everyone that is tuning into our live stream in YouTube and also listen to our podcast. Okay, I hope that we will assist all you guys doubts and any kind of thing that is like job interview related questions you guys may have. Okay, my name is Igor and I am one of the specialist teachers here at Speak Now. I'm 26 years old and I study a lot of English language. I'm also a beginner content creator and I would like to ask everyone here to present ourselves here in the chat while I give the chance to our guests to present them, okay, to introduce them, right? Guys, it's with you guys right now.
Okay. May I jump ahead? Hello, everybody. I'm Stefano. I'm a former student of Speak Now. Uh, the guys at Speak Now invited me and Rafael here to help share a bit how's the experience of working for a company abroad. I'm currently working on a tech lead position for an IT company, and I work fully remotely. And yeah, let's hope I can share a bit of the experience and um, make sure that you all leave this call knowing that it's not anything that you haven't faced in a national company. It's just getting used with the language, and it's pretty much normal stuff. Other than that, Rafael.
Hello, I am Rafael. I'm 35 years old. I am still studying and at speaking now yet. I've working abroad of science 1 year. I almost completing 1 year exactly this February. I am software developer at this company, and yeah, I hope that my experience, my in the past, helps you to encourage you to pass to abroad interviews.
Okay, I believe it's my turn. So I'm Diego. I'm 24 years old. I was I speak now student. I climbed all the mountains, and I'm currently working abroad in a U.S. company, and I work in a manager position. So I run some interviews as well. So I hope I can help everyone here to get some tips to pass some interviews.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Feel very welcomed. And we will start this conversation. And by the end, the optimists will be able to make any questions you guys have in mind. So let's start, right? So first things first. Day two, okay, we'll talk about job interviews with the help of our special guests. And what are the main differences between a job selection process abroad and in Brazil? Can you guys tell me? Feel free, guys, to talk. Don't worry.
Well, I can start. Actually, I haven't found consider difference between interviews abroad and in the Brazilian companies. Basically, it depends on the company that you trying to apply. Uh, at my experience, I perceive that Brazilian companies are more focused on graduations and your networking, this kind of things, and the companies abroad are more focused on test skills and our behavior interview to fit at the experience of this company.
Also, during the interview with a company from abroad, you can see maybe that the interviewer is looking what is your behavior when it comes to communication style and your body language. So depending how you act during the interview, it can be a good point or a bad point. So in the interview, we ask questions about how you work with your colleagues and things like that to see how you're going to be communicating during the day-to-day.
On top of what has been said, I think usually there's a good effort put on by the part of the company that's doing the interview into making non-native speakers comfortable. So it's very hard for everyone doing an interview in a different language, and usually people are very self-aware of that. And from the interviews I've been that I've participated, I always see like an effort from the company to make a comfortable environment, to try to make everyone feel comfortable during the whole process, and that helps a lot for us that are not native speakers. So I think that's the main difference. Other than that, also, I will share what's been said, that it will depend on the company and the interview style that's been applied to.
Definitely. Imagine like the job interview is already hard enough, right, guys? Imagine doing this with a second language that is not your mother tongue. It seems quite challenging. Perfect. And what was your emotional state before and during the interview, guys? How did you handle any nervousness?
Well, being honest, despite the fact that I tried preparing during 6 months before the test, the days before the interview, I am extreme anxious and nervous. But when I decided to apply for this job, I tried to focus on my preparation, familiarize with the position, and try to rehearse the potential questions to be more prepared than as I can. And during the interview, sometimes I need to get a little breathe and ask you to ask a question again if you don't understand it. Try to not feel stuck in the interview. This is my strategy.
Yeah, I also would say that it's good to one day before the interview to take a time relaxing, maybe going out with your friends. So maybe to not think about it, and I will say that that will help during the interview to be more relaxed.
I think also helps doing a lot of interviews. Like, don't be afraid to try when you first have your first opportunity of doing an interview. I've seen people that on their first interview struggle a bit, and then like after the third or the fourth, they are pretty comfortable because the more you do it, it becomes more comfortable. Also, to share a bit on the angle of the interviewer, what I usually see candidates struggling with is when they get to a point where they cannot fully express their thought, uh, they kind of lose it because they usually have this preconceived idea that they want to explain, and sometimes we can't remember the exact words, we can't really communicate, and sometimes it's okay to let it go of a point that you're trying to argue and just say, I'm not that comfortable, I'm a bit nervous, and I really cannot explain to the level I'd like, but just show that you wanted to show more, like you're just the nervousness is getting in your way. I think that's really important from an interviewer perspective. We really value that those kind of things, and we can see like interviews slip a bit, and when the interviewer gets stuck in a point and trying to make the same argument over and over.
This is treasure, guys. Please help me note this amazing tips. Perfect, guys. Thank you so much. And the most common questions asked by recruiters during international interviews. So I choose some of them and I want to talk with you guys about it. So when it comes to common questions, the first one, it's obviously tell me about yourself. We know that when we have this kind of question in an interview, recruiters they want to assess the communication skills, get an overview of background, experience, and the suitability for the role. Guys, what is the tip for this kind of question? I think this is like top one when it comes to job interview. Can you guys give me some kind of information about it?
Well, I think that this point is the most focused on all interviews because you need to try to explain your experience, your ambitions, and fit with the job position. No matter other types of your skills that it's not significant. Uh, on my point of view, it's like at the introduction of your resume. You don't need to extend a lot of all your history for your since you are in the a childhood student like this, but you try to give for interview the values, the keys for your job, the keys for your position. It's really helpful.
Yeah, for this, I believe for all these questions that Igor has here, I believe the most important thing is to create a script for all of them, to and match them with the job requirements, right? And so having a script will be more we will have more flow during the interview, and the interview will see that you can excel that.
And that's usually the first question, right? So if you do what Diego just said, you already get to a good start. So yeah, that's exactly what I would recommend as well.
And as Rafael said, you should avoid running around the bushes. So you need to stay focused and not to tell all your history, but you need to have some history as well. So not too short, but not too long.
With the experience you guys have, of course, in terms of job interview, maybe tell me about yourself. Comes with this this first impression that we have of the person, right? Do you guys think that is important to be not sincere, but try to rock it, in the first impression?
That's the first impression, right?
It's able to change the whole job interview if you do it
Yeah.
good or not in the
Yes.
first.
Yes, and sometimes what you talk during this part of interview give to the interviewer keys for other questions before, like your experience, your some kind of skill or experience or former jobs, for example, helps a lot to maintain the interviews more robust.
Yeah, and it's also a good point where you can uh, bring up stuff that will value your work. So because we know this kind of question always appears, something that we should prepare, and in that preparation have uh, uh, highlight things that we want to talk during the interview, and not give a general overview of our careers, but this will kind of help guide the interview. So if you can pick and choose wherever you did best in your career, or whatever you think you can bring best to the company, I think that's gold.
I think Diego said something about it, but I want to be more specific. I want you guys to tell me things to avoid saying when someone says, "Tell me about yourself" in a job interview.
Well, I think we should avoid talking about hobbies and about the family. You need to focus in your work, things that you did in the past, and also maybe your objectives for the future. That's something that will help during this part.
And I would add to that avoid justifying too much about things that are in your resume. Like, we are not being challenged about the stuff you say you did, or the place you said you worked. Just share a bit of the experience. How was that? Not uh, bring too many examples or spend too many time like you were being challenged, that they were not believing what you're saying. So being brief, I think, is key.
Yes, be cohesive and try to just get the information about yourself, and if something is necessary, the interview you will ask you about, not get longer about this topic.
Perfect, 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 guys. So another common question that I've chosen: why do you want to work for this company? Another popular question. Okay, this one, the aims to understand our motivations and whether you've researched or are genuinely interested in the company. What do you guys think about this?
I think this comes with a second thing that also there's a lot of value on, which is asking questions back to the recruiter. Uh, if you ask a lot of questions about the role, about the company, it shows interest. And if you know already some things, you can use that moment to make questions of things that you read about the company, but you did not fully understand. And that's very important. It shows a lot of good things about the candidate, like that they're really genuinely interested in the role. And when having two candidates to compare, that's usually something that we use to decide between candidates.
Yeah, that's like kind of homework before the interview to research about the company, get all the uh, objectives of the company. I would recommend also looking at Glassdoor. There you can find many answers. And as one example, for one interview that I did in the past, I was able to check that the interviewer had a YouTube channel, and I started seeing those, watching those videos, and I comment that during the interview, and then the interviewer got very happy with that.
Yes, I think it have a little knowledge about the company is good, and the values too. But for in my opinion, is secondary because the most of my experience in the past is more focused on to fit the skills in the job, and but bring to interview some tips to break the ice of the interviews too. But yeah, I think that is if you go with no knowledge at the interview about the company, about the purpose of the company, it's not so good. But not needs to study all this history, all the context to all the business too.
Almost like investigator role, right?
Yes, yes. Where you are try to enter.
Uh-huh. And when it comes to these motivations, can you guys tell me like a limit or motivations that I should say and motivations that I shouldn't say that I can keep to myself?
Well, you should avoid saying, well, I want to join the company because I'm not liking to, to work in my current company. That's something you need to avoid. Uh, or just talking about money, maybe that's something you should avoid as well.
Yes, normally the interviews are separated in two or three parts, and uh, talk about your past, your former job, your past colleagues is not so good, and about the incomes. Just if the interview asks you about something, it's a good point to avoid too. And yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah,
So,
just I kind of have a counterpoint there. I think if you're not desperate for the job, it would suck if you get into a job that you don't like, right? So you can kind of revert that question and also ask about things that you would not like, to understand how the company works, how you would work on your day to day in that role. Because if you only if you're afraid to ask this kind of question, it can you can find out later that you're working in a place that you don't like. So it's good to, if the interviewer asks you why do you want to work for this company, you also ask back some questions about how the company operates, and then you can see if it's a good fit or not.
okay, perfect, perfect. Another one is describe a challenging situation you faced at work and how you handle it. And of course, this one is related to behavioral questions, and they want to know about problem-solving abilities we have and approach to challenges. What is the point here, guys?
Well, these questions are more like to see how is the problem-solving skills of the person. So how deep a person can be to investigate something and fix it.
I would personally always choose something that's related to the core position you're running for. So if you're running for something that involves management, pick a challenge that involves management. If you're going for a position that's more technical, pick a challenge that show you have experience with things that are critical in the technical side. So I would always pick things that are really connected to the role, because that's also things that can be used to filter out candidates, like like noticing that the candidate does not have experience with companies of this size or with companies with the same purpose.
Yes, at this point, I think that some skill you tell about yourself before in the interview could appear in that. I think in this instance you could bring experience and how to navigate for some kind of difficulty. How can you thinking to resolve your rational thinking to resolve it, and show your outcome, the result. It's a good point to share.
Imagine, guys, that I have like some problem with anxiety that I really don't know, but I don't have that skill yet with this challenging situations or being under pressure. How would you guys say this in an interview, but in a, of course, in a polite way, in a job interview way? How would you guys do that?
Well, especially on developer environments is common have challenging situations and sometimes feel anxious or nervous to, when you need to solve a big problems. Uh, on my point of view, you need to be honest about the things, especially if the interview ask you about, it's natural for you pass and go through this situation. No, I feel anxiety, but I handle this in this way, or I solve it this other way. I think it's like a conversation, like as we are doing now. You could be you could done in an interview too.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. Uh, how do you handle working in a multicultural environment? How do you guys answer this? Because of course they want to understand motivations, and if you research about the interests of the company.
Yeah, I think that adds up to researching the company from the other question. You should know what kind of environment you'll be working on. And with that in mind, it's always important to make sure that you highlight that you're good at adapting to different scenarios if you're going to work in a multicultural environment. Uh, Making sure that you have no restriction with people with different cultures, different religions, different backgrounds, and that you do your best to try to accommodate everyone. And it's on this kind of scenarios, I think it's also important to make sure the interviewer knows that you're not going to like make inappropriate jokes, things like that, because the things when you're working with people that come from a completely different background can always backfire. So it's always best to avoid, and it's always best to make that very clear from during the interview.
Yes, I think the respect is the key. Not only your for your experience, but the other experience too, like religion, like other countries, as Stefan said. And I think that is more soft skill question. And if you have some experience that you have worked before, it's good to share. But I think it's more linked to how can you respect the difference, the diversity in the company in this question.
Yeah, so to be polite, to be kind, things like that. And another thing here is that working for a global company, is going to you are going to contact people from all countries. So uh, maybe it's a good point to search about the culture and religions of people you are talking to and also when it comes to multiple time zones, when you reach out to people, maybe it's a good point to uh, be always polite and to check which time zone the people is, to say maybe good morning or good afternoon, and to have a synchronous communication, to say good morning and just start typing what you need, etc. So it's a good point.
Being polite is the key here, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Uh, this one is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So here we're talking about the future, and not a recent future, right? 5 years. Some job interviews they ask this, and of course here they are. They want to know about career goals, and they want to align with the trajectory of the company. How should I answer this kind of question if I want to succeed in a job interview?
I guess that if you try to bring your goals most fitted with the company is the better option. Uh, if you did some research or other stacks, other skills that you need to learn in the company, it's a good point too. For example, it's not only with your currently experience, but in the future too is a good point. And I think it's a good to show some ambitions to grow in the company, but take care not exaggerate a lot in this ambitions. It's a good tip.
Yeah, I would not focus, but one point that I would bring here is that uh, always mention that you'd like to help your coworkers grow, or things like that. That you like to make the in 5 years you like to be uh, well evaluated by the people you've worked with during that period, that you could cause impact in their careers. And what would I would avoid is saying that you would like to see yourself in another position. It's okay to be ambitious, but if you're uh, interviewing for a position and you're already aiming at something else, it doesn't show a lot of focus on what you're doing. So I would avoid that.
Yeah, that already happened to me. Candidates responded to that saying that, well, I want to be a doctor in 5 years. So completely different thing. So that's a, a key error for the interview.
Maybe it's a good point to show ambitions linked about I am a plan developer, for example. I want to be a senior and grow in this company for this path career path. It's a good point because show for interview that you want to learn, you want to grow in your career too.
Okay, perfect. Now that we understood when it comes to common questions, guys, what recruiters value most in international candidates?
Well, I can start with some points here. Of course, the English is a key factor. Uh, Having many candidates to choose, maybe the candidate with the best English would be the option to select. I would say that also the candidate must have a good mood during the interview. So if like the candidate is like boring or the interview, the interview won't like that. So you need to show that you are energized. So that will help during the interview. Also to be very polite. So good morning, please, thank you. Honesty, so don't lie during the interviews because the interview will know about that. Interview would be able to identify it. Um, I also say that it's good to, at the end of the interview, to ask for feedback. If you say something that were wrong during the interview, you can ask the interviewer about it and maybe to get a feedback via email or just at the end. I would say also for technical questions, I would say to not guess the answer. So if you don't know the answer, just say I don't know. Or if you want to guess, you need to explain why you select that option or you say that thing. That's some things that I have here.
Yeah, I would add that it's not far off from regular interview that you do for a Brazilian company in terms of the thing that will be valued most is that you are efficient in the role you're running for. So you need to show your knowledge.
Yes.
If it's the most important part is to show you have knowledge to be hired by that company. So even if you're having trouble during the interview with your English skills for some reason, you should make the best effort to at least give some in-depth knowledge about what you're saying, not only like mentioning things, but explaining how they work and things like that. I think that this is the things that they value most. And if we're running for a position in an international company, we need to always make sure that they're not hiring someone that will drop the bar. So it's important for a candidate to do that. I think that's it.
Yes, I agree. Both guys are completely describe how the most value. I think the most value for interview is the skill that required for the position, and the honesty during the interview about you know or you don't know is really important too. Sometimes you say don't know about something, it's a good point for interview too.
Okay, perfect. Uh, is having perfect English crucial for success in a job interviews abroad? This one is one question that it's very popular. What do you guys think?
Obviously, how can you say now? It's not necessary. I'm still studying in English at this now. I think that I have a lot of I make a lot of mistakes during my communication, but I think you if you are able to express your ideas and talk a little bit during the interview about the your experience, your skills, your ambitions, it's sufficient. You don't need to write an essay, for example. It's really perfect grammar. I think it's not essential for applying to the job. But if you are good, it's a great point too.
I would say try. You'll see.
Yes.
I think if you're not running for a position that is English related, like translation or something like that, of course, they're not evaluating you for your English. They're evaluating you for the position. So as long as you can understand the questions, and I think that's the point where I've seen candidates fail the most. When you ask a question and they reply something different than you asked, you'll be fine. They don't care if you will stutter, if you cannot pronounce the word correctly, if you cannot remember words. They want to know if you're fit for the position. And if you can understand and reply to the questions, you should be fine.
Yes, maybe if you needed to touch some customers or sales, for example, is more required perfect English than production jobs, for example. And the other thing that I perceived is the native speaker can understand much more than we can understand. He go through the mistakes and don't care about you don't have perfect English.
Yeah,
I
sometimes I see that even native speakers make mistakes.
Yes, for sure. I bet the alpinist mind are at ease right now with this information because it's something that they worry a lot about this perfect English. Thank you guys so much about this info. Can an accent be a challenge during the interview? So we talked about perfect English, but what about the accent?
Yes, it can. I think this is the most challenging part if you get an interviewer that has a different accent, like maybe a friend speaking English or someone from Wales or something like that, maybe Irish. But those are some accents that can challenge us, especially that I think most of us, at least I did, had more contact with the American English. So it can be a challenge. It's not a shame to ask the interviewer to speak slower. Just do it. If you're not understanding, just do it. If you're doing the interview on Google Meets, you probably have the option to enable captions. That's a good hack you can use, and it works pretty nicely. So you can enable captions on Google Meet, and this will help you understand.
Yes, I just agree with the accent. Sometimes it's challenging. I have looked to part in my interview was a Latin accent speaking English. I could understand a little bit better than some other accents that I found in other meetings at the company. Like for example, the English, some kind of some regions of England is a little bit challenging for me.
That's it. From what all the people that I have contact with, I would say that for me the most challenging accents are from Irish people and Indian people as well, and some Americans when they speak very fast, especially young people because then they speak a lot of slangs. So that's it.
Perfect, guys. And what are common mistakes candidates make during interviews for international jobs and how to avoid them?
Well, I would say I will start with to not be on time for the interview, and we need to take care with that, especially when it comes to time zones and daylight savings. So we need to be very careful on that and check previously what is the specific time that the interview is going to be done.
Let me see. I guess that maybe poor communication, try to explain and talk with the interview, not only be short in your answers. I think it's a good point to avoid in the interview. If you want to ask again about the question, is a good point. Don't think that you understand if you don't understand it. Ask again and make sure that you completely understand the question. Or try avoid negative comments about your former job or your colleagues. Try to focus on the required questions on the interview. Yes, I think this is it.
Yeah, I would say the most common mistake is something Diego already said. Is when people don't know something and they will spend 5 minutes trying to circle around it and come up with something, but in the end they could just say they didn't know it, and that was okay.
Yeah, and also as already mentioned, to not be boring during interview. to be very energized. That will help during interview. To not run around the bushes, to be direct to the answer. And I also would say that to not be humble, it's a bad thing.
That's interesting about being humble. Usually people think that it's a good thing, right, to be extremely humble and things like this. Perfect. And now, guys, I want to see if our Alpness or anyone who's watching live has any question. Don't feel shy, please. Yes, Artus, tell us.
Hello, guys. Good evening. Guys, how was the first week after that you were contracted, hired in the first work abroad that you did? How was the challenge that you face off with your colleagues, with all all this new ritual, new culture, etc.
I think you feel lost at the first week. So you get in touch with a lot of people that you won't understand very well, and because you usually uh, will in the first week you have contact with different people and different accents and different ways of speaking, and it's not a comfortable experience. Uh, it takes some time until you feel uh, okay with that, and you start to getting to understand people a bit better. I'd say it's more than a month until you get used to it, but it's just something you have to embrace. And you actually remind me of a good tip is that embrace every opportunity you have of doing presentations or things like that. If things will work. Presentations are good because it's something that you prepare beforehand, so you can train and you can speak, and because you have to convince people or show people something, it's a good way to put yourself out there and not be um, too unconfident about your English skills. If you do that, I think you speed up a lot your your adaptation.
In my first week, I didn't work a lot because I had to run many trainings, complete many trainings for security and so many other things, and to get familiarized with environment and all those things. So first week, the manager gave me some small tasks to do to complete to check how I would perform that, and from there you go on and uh, take more tests and take more difficult tests, and that's it. You keep going.
I think that is normal. Feel lost, even in Brazilian companies too. Abroad is the language is one more challenge that you face. But yeah, I think that you needed to learn a lot of the company, a lot of the processing, internal process of the company too. It's uh, really busy period in the company, not producing, but you need to learn a lot of things, and you need to meet a lot of people too, your team, your manager, the, the principals for the company too. But I guess it's normal process, and everyone understands that you feel a little bit stuck sometimes.
And I will compliment to not be shy to ask questions, even that you don't have a perfect English.
And in the first week, you note that people use a lot of abbreviations in writing speech. So it's a good time to learn a lot of new expressions.
Thanks, Bruno. Please, it's your turn. Me said a good one. Guys, could you guys give wait, sorry, I lost the message. Could you guys give some tips on how to not be nervous during the interview?
Avoid completed
That is
nervous, I think this is impossible.
Yeah.
I think that you try to handle to don't stuck during the interview. Try to relax, deep breathe, and ask the question calmly. Try to answer calmly too, not rough for the question. It's a good point, but avoid completely the anxious and the nervous. For me, I think it's possible. Even that we pass go through a lot of interviews during your life experience, you getting used to.
Yeah, sometimes I think maybe I'm a bit nervous when doing an interview, like interviewing someone, because you need to guide the person into answering what you're looking for. So what we need to try is ways to cope with nervousism and not just try to avoid it, because it won't be possible. And
Yeah.
sorry, Diego, and
No,
to cope
go
with
ahead.
and to cope with that, I think we need to have ways to get out of zones that we already know that we can get stuck. When we are studying English, we really know subjects that usually we start to drag and if we know there, we need to put like breakpoints there and get out of that and start speaking again about something else or in a different manner.
And also aware that having a calm place to sit and talk would be perfect.
Yeah, without dogs barking at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Bruno, do you want to question to make your question?
Oh, okay. Let me try again. uh, I would like to know if. Oh my God, I already forgot the question. 1 minute. Oh, okay. I would like to know if you any of you have seen any situation that someone was bad with you because you were Brazilians.
Well, in my case, I already passed all the phases for some positions, but then at the end, I couldn't go on because I was Brazilian, and then the company couldn't make deals with Brazil or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't had any discrimination. I never suffered that. But one thing that happens is that some people will be, because people are people, right? So some people will be very comprehensible and very calm on the day to day during work, and some people will just speak their normal way, and uh, you should step up and try to understand, and they won't make any effort to help you feel more comfortable with the way they're speaking things.
Yes, for me not too, and I think the most of the people that hire uh, around the world, people around the world, are comprehensive with not only for Brazilian but all the other countries too. For me, it's no problem.
Does anyone else want to ask a question? Yes, Artus.
I don't know. I guess Leandro did a question first. Can perhaps you can follow the, the question of Leandro first, Igor?
Don't worry, don't worry. So Leandro said, I would like to know how your relationship was in the routine of improving your English after starting a company where communication in English is primary.
Well, for me, during my first month, I continued to do classes. So I taking English lessons and also embracing every opportunity I had to speak with people. and also trying not to over rely on Brazilians that were also working in the same company, because it's we can use that and start asking the Brazilian person everything to help us with. So trying to do that, make sure that I would try my best. That's it, I think.
Yeah, in my case, I continued my English classes, and also during dailies in the company, I tried to speak as much as I could. And also, I have some Brazilian colleagues as well, so we have the rule to not speak in Portuguese. So we only speak English to improve. That's it.
Yes, I am one of your classmates yet at the Speak Now. I'm trying to improve my English skills because I think it's necessary. You don't need to be in your comfortable zone because you just passed on the interview.
Perfect. And now the last question, Artus, please.
Guys, talking about my experience, working on a Brazilian IT company, I feel that our meetings daily, I don't know, can during 2-3 hours, obviously being exaggerated here or not. How is it works on working abroad? The meetings during how much time then here on Brazil, or they follow the time that the meeting will do?
I'll start answering that one because I had a shock exactly on that area when I first started working abroad, and my experience was that the thing I found most interesting were that they would book like 15-minute calls, and I had never seen that because it was always starting from 30 minutes and then or bigger than that. So people would just book exactly the time they need, 15-20 minutes, and they would fit the time boxes of the meeting. So got to the end of the estimated time, and people not take the decision or need more time, they would book something for the other day, and that day was up. People are very conscious about other people's time, especially working with multiple time zones. So things need to be optimized in a way that everyone can carry on their day-to-day lives and not need to be in meetings during the night or during or too early in the morning. So at least in the company I work for, so people are very conscious with those time windows where they can book meetings, and they try to make the best of it. So I kind of in Brazil of having large meetings, and when I first changed to a company abroad, that completely shifted.
Yes, in my experience, the time range is respected, and if you perceive that it's not fit by your interest, you just quit, and there is no problem to quit of the meeting because it's not relevant for you too.
Well, I have the completely different experience. So for the client that I work for, we have many meetings every day, and some days I feel that I didn't work because I spent the long in meetings, and so but it's I believe it's from company to company, but most of them I believe respect the time.
Perfect. Perfect, guys. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rafael. Thank you so much, Diego. Thank you so much, Stefano. Thank you for sharing all this important knowledge. This is so important to me to speak now into all our students, all our alpinists. If you guys have any more questions, please send on our WhatsApp group, please. And that's it. Tomorrow we will have the last day of our workshop, and I hope you guys come back because we have a lot of good and interesting things to see together, right?
Yes,
Right.
tomorrow I'll see you guys.
And I have one last tip. So
Yep.
before I had my first interview, I ran a simulation with Gabi. So maybe you can ask Now team to do it.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Diego. Thank you so much, guys. It's awesome to have you guys here. Thank you so much. Bye bye, everyone. Lots of rest and see ya.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.